So I've just been out for today, so I'm going to be a little bit late to this video, but we're after seeing it again. Like, this is not good. This is not good at all because, look, I'm going to say it's not good for the WNBA to have the reputation of being prison ball, and some players aren't really helping. Some players aren't really helping with that, and Chennedy Carter's really not helping with that by her latest response. She quadrupled down. Before we get on, if you guys aren't new to the channel, subscribe. Right now we are, I don't know how many we're off. What are we? We are like, oh my god, less than 250 away from 6k. If we could somehow hit that by the end of the day, I don't think we will, but if we could somehow do that, that would be absolutely insane. Thank you so much for the support on the channel recently. But anyway, now let's get on to the video. So Chennedy Carter was asked about this game. She was asked, and she decided to speak this time. I actually think saying I'm not talking about any Caitlin Clark questions is the better thing to say. That was better than her actual response. Her response, so I'm not paraphrasing, I'm going to read it here. Her response was, I have no regrets. I'm going to compete and play 100% hard no matter who it is or who we're playing. So, you have no regrets. Your team lost by 1 point and you gave up 1 point. That should be a regret, by the way. And also, saying I'm going to do the same thing to every player. They're playing the Liberty tonight. Go cheap shot Breanna Ionescu. I'm not joking. If she does not cheap shot Breanna Ionescu, then she's not playing the same way against every player. She has kind of brought herself, she's quadrupled down. She's basically said, yeah, I did that, and yeah, I was just playing hard. It's not playing hard. It was targeted. There's no question about that, that it was targeted. Like, I'm pretty sure from the lip reading, it seems that, like, she said you B word to Caitlin Clark. So I'm not going to go as far as what some people are accusing Chennedy Carter of saying white B word. Obviously, one of them is a million times worse than the other. One of them is just personal insult, and then the other opens a complete other can of worms, but I actually think it was the first. I genuinely think that she's just sick. They're just sick of Caitlin Clark. I think a lot of these players are sick of Caitlin Clark. I think these players are sick of Caitlin Clark's fans. I don't think they're actually sick of Caitlin Clark. I think they're just sick of Caitlin Clark. They're sick of the mania around Caitlin Clark. They're not, I don't think any of them could give a flying F-U-C-K about Caitlin Clark the person. They are sick of the mania, and no offense, not even no offense, but Chennedy Carter tried to send her a message. Did she mean to hurt her? No. But did she mean to cheap shot her when she wasn't looking and shake her up? Yeah, of course she did. Of course she did. Anyone who says otherwise is different. And the fact is that she's there, I had no regrets, I'm just going to play hard. That's not playing hard. If you equate hitting people with their back turned to playing hard, then you have a flawed idea of basketball. And look, this is Chennedy Carter, by the way. This is a player who has all-star ability, who has all-star talent, who has the talent to be on the USA Olympic team, but was kicked off one of her teams for trying to fight her teammate. Was kicked off another team for conduct detrimental to the team, was kicked off her overseas team for that. And obviously she was the best player in the Chinese league. He was the Chinese league. Wherever she played overseas, she was the best player in that league with WNBA All-Stars. So she has the talent. But the problem is that it's the attitude problems and it's other stuff. And she's not doing herself any favor by quadrupling down. She has basically cemented herself, and regardless of what you think about Chennedy, about everything, all the discourse around the WNBA, you can't say that new viewers coming in and watching the biggest game of the year for a cheap shot, and the person who does the cheap shot quadruples and triples down and has people defending Chennedy Carter saying that's part of the game. It's just not. Could you imagine if let's just say in 2022, I'm trying to think of a basketball game that would be the equivalent to that. And obviously the Jordan rules, everything changed since then. So if you want to go back 35 years ago, cool. That's 35 years ago. Like 35 years before that, the sport barely existed. 35 years before that, George Mikan was the best player. Like, that's how far back we're looking. It was 10 years before I was born. Like, it's pointless looking back that far. It would be the equivalent of, let's just say, I'm trying to think of a player that has brought people into sports in a contact sport. Or not in a contact sport, in like a team sport. It would be like the World Cup final in 2022. Everyone wants to watch Messi versus Mbappe. If before the game starts, let's just say, I'm trying to think who on the French team might actually cheap shot Messi. No one really on that French team. But let's just say they have like a Roy Keane or a Gattuso, who the first thing they did was run into Messi's back, knock him down, off the ball completely, knock him down, and suddenly he's just there, completely shook, and doesn't get the shout in the final. If that's what, and then everyone in the sport of football is there backing up this person, being like, no, this is a real man's game, just knocking Messi in the back, and it's like, that's an equivalent of that happening. And the reason why people are talking about this is because everyone was watching this game. People are like, oh, no one really talked about the Alyssa Thomas. People did. People accused Alyssa Thomas of domestic abuse so bad that her partner had to come out and said nothing happened. Like, that's how bad. It was 100 times worse for Alyssa Thomas because what she did was worse. But the fact there are more eyes on this, and she's not helping herself. Even if she had have said things got heated in the game, the only thing I regret is that my actions caused us to give up a point, and I didn't help the team in that scenario. Not I have no regrets. I'm gonna keep doing this bravado. It's because it's dumb. The more you double and triple down, the more people that are doubling and tripling down on the side of her just because they hate the Caitlin Clark mania, the worse it's gonna be for the sport. Because the people that are only there for the Caitlin Clark mania are eventually gonna go. Especially the people that are not actually fans of the sport, are not actually fans of Caitlin Clark, are portraying their biases against a certain group of people, and using Caitlin Clark's career in contrast to Angel Reese's career in order to portray that. And same vice versa, by the way. There's both sides, and they are both equally as bad, and none of them give a damn about the sport, none of them give a damn about these players, none of them give a damn about these people. They're all going to go away. They'll go away very, very soon. Them fans are going to be gone. But the fans that were big fans of Iowa, that were really interested in women's basketball, that were interested in it for the sport. They were interested in it for the sport. There were 9 million people that watched Caitlin Clark face against South Carolina. None of them were there to debate stuff non-sport related. They were just there to watch the game. And they became fans of the sport. And these were the fans that would have become fans of your... Maybe after what happened, maybe never a fan of Angel Reese, but they would have been fans of your Aja Wilsons, Elsie Plums, your Breanna Stewarts, your I'm forgetting her name, Kalia Coppers, your Arika Moales. So the fans that might be there for them, and maybe they're only going to watch showcase games, just like a lot of NBA people. They're going to watch highlights and they're going to watch some showcase games. And this was the showcase game, and all you took out of showcase game was that the rumblings that the WNBA players were targeting Caitlin Clark, and people had heard that. A lot of time people aren't watching the games, and then suddenly they watch a game and it's very obvious someone targeted Caitlin Clark. And then she quadruples down on it. She doesn't just say nothing, she doubles down, triples down, and now quadruples down. It is the worst thing for the sport, by the way. It is the worst thing that could have possibly been done. The single worst thing, the dumbest thing for the sport. Because, again, the people that just have no interest in the sport and are just there to stir shit, they're going to be gone. They're going to be gone. Doesn't matter what happens, doesn't matter how good Clark is, doesn't matter how good Reese is, they're going to go when the next alternate way for them to have the same argument has nothing to do with the sports or nothing to do with anything, when there's the next time something like this happens and they're going to have the same argument, just in a different medium. It's the same people. They've got nothing to do with, they don't care about sports. Your Outkicks, those type of things, heck, your Jamel Hills, they're going to be two obviously complete opposite sides of it. Whatever their next thing is, they're going to make the argument via that, and they're going to be gone very soon. So the problem is that what is now happening is that the fans that are likely to stay, and these are not the people on Twitter, these are the likely people that are fans of the sport. If you are in any sort of discourse with WNBA, there's been the one extreme, people saying, oh, people are targeting Caitlin Clark, and the others are saying, no, they're not, she's a rookie, they're being hard on her, she's not being cheap-shotted. And then if the first game they watched was her getting cheap-shotted, clearly, whatever they had heard, that's what they're going to think. And not only has Chennedy Carter not done herself justice, because she is a hell of a player. She is an all-star level player. And she has not done herself justice whatsoever. Again, there's a reason she makes $60K a year and not a max contract. She's not done herself justice. She's not done the league justice. And then the Chennedy Carter apologists aren't doing the league justice either. Like, the fact that there are Kennedy Carter, just because there are some people that hate Caitlin Clark so much, and again, they don't hate Caitlin Clark the person, they just hate Caitlin Clark the idea so much, they're going to be they're going to be a Kennedy Carter apologist. If an NBA player did what Kennedy Carter did, they would be suspended 5 games. Not suspended 5 games for the hit, suspended for everything they've done afterwards. If an NBA player cheap shotted somebody and then came out liking posts against, like Nikola Jokic, when in fairness, he got hit hard, but he also cheap shotted Markieff Morris. Pretty sure Jokic got a suspension. But if Jokic went on social media, I know he doesn't use it, started liking tweets saying that he should do it again, that Markieff Morris deserved it, was retweeting anti-Markieff Morris stuff, was retweeting constant stuff, in interviews, was still saying he doesn't regret anything, and that he'll do it again. Yeah, that's a 5-game suspension for an NBA player. And the fact is that people are saying Caitlin Clark's being coddled. No, Alyssa Thomas is being coddled for basically potentially putting, like, regardless of how Angel Reese reacted, if you basically choke slam somebody, put them down by their neck, like going head first, that's extremely dangerous. They coddled Alyssa Thomas by allowing her to keep playing and not getting suspended. And they're coddling Kennedy Carter by making this seem like it's in any way acceptable. Not the cheap shot, by the way. The cheap shot should have been an ejection, no suspension. That is what it is. But coddling her, they're saying everything she has done in the meantime is acceptable, because all it's doing is being a horrible look for this league.